You refresh Outlook mid-afternoon. Nothing. You restart your computer. Still nothing. You check if you're fired. You're not. Microsoft's entire email infrastructure just collapsed.
On January 22, 2026, at approximately 2:40 p.m. Eastern Time, Microsoft 365 services began failing across North America and beyond. Outlook stopped syncing. Teams went silent. Exchange Online became unreachable. Within minutes, reports flooded Downdetector, peaking at over 15,000 complaints as users across primarily North America lost access to their primary business communication tools. IT departments were overwhelmed with tickets. Social media exploded with confusion, and Microsoft's status page confirmed the nightmare. Incident MO1221364 was underway. This wasn't a minor hiccup. This was a major infrastructure failure affecting one of the world's largest cloud platforms, and it would last nearly 10 hours. Let's break down exactly what stopped working. First, Outlook, the service hit hardest, couldn't send or receive emails. Messages were stuck in limbo, causing widespread productivity chaos. Second, Microsoft Teams experienced dropped calls and connection issues. Remote workers suddenly found their primary communication tool unreliable. Third, Exchange Online, the backbone of Microsoft's email service, became inaccessible for many users. Even the admin center had issues, preventing IT teams from managing the crisis. But here's what made this particularly brutal. The outage didn't hit everyone uniformly. Some users could access certain services, while others were completely locked out. Your colleague might be sending emails while you're staring at error messages. This inconsistency made troubleshooting nearly impossible and created mass confusion about whether problems were individual or systemic. The business impact was significant: disrupted workflows, delayed communications, and productivity grinding to a halt for countless organizations relying on Microsoft 365. So, what actually failed? Here's where it gets technical, but stay with me, because understanding this explains why your turn it off and on again trick didn't work. The root cause was elevated service load, combined with capacity constraints during scheduled maintenance in North America. Microsoft's infrastructure simply couldn't process the traffic. Think of Microsoft 365 like a highway system. Normally, traffic flows smoothly across multiple lanes with backup routes. But imagine closing half the lanes for maintenance while rush hour hits. That's what happened here. The load balancing system, which distributes user traffic across servers, became overloaded and failed. Microsoft's North American infrastructure experienced a perfect storm. Maintenance reduced available capacity while user demand remained high. The load balancing mechanisms that should have redirected traffic to healthy servers couldn't keep up. When the primary systems buckled under pressure, the redundancy that's supposed to protect us, backup systems and failover protocols, were overwhelmed by the sheer volume of traffic and the regional nature of the capacity problem. Now here's something interesting. If you were already logged into Outlook or Teams before the failure, you might have stayed connected for a while. Why? Cached credentials. Your device had stored authentication tokens, temporary passes that let you stay in the building even though the front door was broken. But the moment you logged out, closed the app, or your token expired, you were locked out like everyone else. This is also why the web version and desktop apps behaved differently for some users. They use slightly different authentication pathways and server connections. If one pathway remained partially operational while another failed, you'd get this bizarre situation where Outlook Web worked, but the desktop app didn't, or vice versa. And this explains the timeline. The outage didn't hit everyone simultaneously at 2:40 p.m. It rolled across users as their cached credentials expired and as load balancing failures cascaded through the system, creating waves of failures over several hours. By evening, the impact was widespread. Microsoft knew they had a disaster on their hands. But acknowledging the problem and fixing it are two very different things.